Hello beautiful people, it is Jada Jo. Welcome to or back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about learning to accept my body, because the last video that I made on the topic was one made out of pure frustration and made in a time when I had a lot of heavy emotions surrounding the topic, because I talked a lot about how I don't know what I look like because every mirror that I look into I look completely different, and that is still true to this day. Every mirror that I look in I look completely different, and it's not that I never get frustrated about it anymore, but I do feel like I've been able to shift my mindset surrounding the topic and really step into my power in terms of my relationship with my body. So while it's still a work in progress, and it's probably going to be a work in progress for the rest of my life, I feel like I have gained a little insight that I want to share with y'all, specifically about not knowing what I look like because I look different in every mirror. I've really shifted my mindset to see it as a gift rather than something that is super frustrating, because now in my mind what I think is, okay, I don't know what I look like. Every mirror I look into, I look completely different. I don't know which one's true. I don't know which one's accurate. So why am I fixated on what I look like? If I can't even tell what I look like, why not just focus on how I feel? And I know that it's easier said than done, but truly focusing on doing things that make me feel good makes me so much less vulnerable to getting super fixated on what I look like. Because if I am living a life that I really enjoy, if I'm doing exercises that I really enjoy, if I'm eating food that I really enjoy, when I look in the mirror and let's say I don't like what I look like that day, I think, well, I love the things that I'm doing in the life that I'm living, so if that creates this body right now, if that makes me look like this right now, I'm okay with that because I like the life that I'm living. And that's why it's so important to live a full life and be pouring into all different aspects of your life that bring you joy, because at least for me, what I've found is that it's never really been about what I look like. It's always been that I am feeling out of control in another area of my life, or I'm not feeling fulfilled in another area of my life, and so I turn to my body image because in the past I've been able to manipulate my body in order to look a certain way. So when I'm feeling out of control in a different area, I turn to my body image and I turn to my food as a mechanism for control, because again, it's worked before for me. So when I do find myself fixating on what I look like, instead of asking myself, okay, what do I not like about myself? What can I change about myself? I think, okay, what's the other area of my life that has nothing to do with this that I am clearly feeling a lack of fulfillment in, and how can I pour into that area of my life instead? You know, focusing on the root cause as opposed to trying to alleviate the symptoms has really been helpful for me, and I've really been able to learn more about myself and my different tendencies to focus on my food and my body image at times when I'm struggling in other areas of my life, and how can I face those areas head on or sit in the uncomfortability, in the discomfort, rather than turning to these mechanisms, these unhealthy coping mechanisms that never actually make me feel fulfilled the way that I'm hoping that they will. Just becoming aware of the thoughts that you're telling yourself. There's so much power in becoming aware of what is going on inside of your mind. I mean, that's the first step to any sort of change, is acknowledgement and awareness. And once I became aware of the things that I was saying to myself, there was no way for me to continue to allow myself to say those things to myself, because they were awful things. And a lot of it was just subconscious. I wasn't purposely beating myself up, but that was kind of my default in my head, was just constantly beating myself up. And once I became aware and started thinking, oh my gosh, if someone else said these things to me, I would not let them stay in my life, and I would never say these things to another person, so why am I saying them to myself? How I speak to myself is completely in my control, and every single day I have a choice to beat myself up or lift myself up. And I just decided one day, hey, this whole beating myself up thing isn't working. It is not getting me anywhere. It's not making me happy. So how about we just try lifting ourselves up for once and see what happens? You know, I have nothing to lose because this isn't working, what I'm doing right now. It has been such a game changer for me. Every single day, just hyping myself up in the mirror, even if I don't fully believe it. You know, maybe sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't really feel beautiful, or I don't think that I look beautiful. You are freaking beautiful, Jada Jo. That's what I tell myself. I am now trying to say all the things that I would want someone else to say to me, to myself, or what I would say to the people that I love most. You know, you are fully in control of the thoughts that are going on inside of your brain. Are you even aware of the thoughts that are going on inside of your brain? So many people don't even realize what they're saying to themselves. I mean, we live in a society, specifically as women, that teaches us not to like ourselves. I mean, that's what diet culture is. It's a whole industry of companies trying to get us to feel insecure about what we look like and the things that we're doing in our life, so that we pay money in order to change ourselves. And so these have been subconsciously programmed into our thought patterns, and we have to become aware in order to take our power back. I don't want diet culture to be controlling my thoughts. I want to at least have power over my own thoughts that are going on inside of my brain. And because I'm finally giving myself permission to love myself, I mean, genuinely, I had to give myself permission to love myself, because it didn't feel okay to love myself, because again, I've been programmed by society, like many of us have, to not like myself. And one day I had to say, hey, it's okay for us to like what we look like. We don't have to constantly be trying to change ourselves. It's okay for us to like the person that we are. It is so crazy once you become aware of the subconscious thought patterns inside of your brain, because you realize how untrue they are and how they weren't even your beliefs that were programmed inside of you to begin with. Like, do you actually believe the things that you're saying? Or has someone else just taught you those things? Because I don't know what I look like, I think for a long period of time I was like, if I could just know what I look like, then I could start to love myself and I could start to accept myself. However, if my love for myself is dependent on the distance between my thighs on any certain day, or if it's dependent on what I look like on any certain day, that's not actually love for myself. And I started to realize that my love for myself was so conditional, and I didn't want it to be that way, because I don't want it to be dependent on things that are going to constantly be changing for the rest of my life. I want to have unconditional love for myself, consistent, steady love for myself, unfailing love for myself that I know won't go away if I gain weight one day, or if I don't reach my goal, or whatever. I love myself because I love the way that my brain works. I love my heart. I love the way that I love people. I love the way that I am so determined and motivated to make this world a better place. I love all these things about myself that aren't going to change, that have never changed, that have been a part of me since the day that I was born. My love for myself is no longer dependent on what I see in the mirror, because even what I see in the mirror within a 5-second span changes. So if my love is determined by that, ooh, that's not the kind of love that I want. And the last thing I want to talk about is healing my inner child. I feel like that is a term that's kind of being tossed around in social media a lot, or in the spiritual community at least, and a lot of people don't even know what that really means. For me, a lot of healing my inner child has been saying to myself now the things that I wish I would have been told when I was younger, or the things that I wish I would have believed when I was younger, like that I'm beautiful, that I'm worthy of love, all of these things, because I feel so much grief for the fact that I didn't believe these things when I was younger. It can be challenging for me to even look back at those times and think about that girl, because I just want to hug her so badly. But one day I just kind of realized, hey, I can be that person for myself now, and I can still tell that little girl what I wish that she would have been told as myself now, kind of seeing it from this new perspective of 5 years later, 10 years later. It's really made me realize the person that I want to be for myself, and I want to be a model for that younger girl of how I can love myself and how I can treat myself in a very kind, graceful, positive way. She my younger self has become a huge motivator for me in terms of my relationship with my body, my relationship with myself, because when I look back at my younger self, I think, oh my gosh, she did not know how to love herself, and I don't want to look back in 10 years from now and think the same thing and think, why was I so hard on myself? Why was I constantly beating myself up? Why couldn't I just love myself? What kind of model do I want to be for my sisters, for the people around me, for myself, my younger self? What change do I want to be a part of in this world? You know, be the change you want to see in the world. Yes, that's a quote that's thrown around, but it's so true. What do I stand for? And do my actions and my own thoughts align with what I believe about myself in this world and about where my worth comes from, etc.? Beliefs that are mine, not subconsciously programmed in me by society, by the people around me, but things that I actually believe. And once I really questioned the things that I was saying to myself, I started also questioning what I believed, and then I was able to figure out what I actually believed and then align my thoughts. So it's all just kind of working backwards and really looking at myself through a third person point of view, saying, hey, let's pause for a second. Why did you just say that to yourself? Where did that come from? Where did you hear that? Where did you start believing that? And the more that you question yourself, the more you'll learn about yourself, and the closer you will feel to yourself, and the more love you will have for yourself. True, unconditional, steady love. I hope that this video was helpful. If anything that you've been doing has been helping you in regards to your body image, your relationship with yourself, please comment it down below, and we can all talk about it together and help each other grow. I love you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye.